Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 2023.
Good evening. What did it change? I wonder. Here.
I can't play guitar, don't know how to sing. I think everything in this world is broken. I can't really think, don't know how to love. Watching clouds above fly away from me. It's an illusion, color outside the lines. Institutions will blow away. Enter a sunny day, not a cloud anywhere, whispering a secret name. Name of the universe is the same as the name of God. Look to water and blood for the name of God. If you wonder how I get carried away, ask the thunder on that cloudless day. Deep blue ocean, waves pounding the shore. Spiritual motion tells me which way to go. Birds flying over an endless sea. Give me visions of all I need.
Good morning. My name is Ken Claiborne, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of this congregation. Welcome to you all. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart is a welcoming community encouraging religious freedom, nurturing individual spiritual and ethical growth, celebrating diversity, and promoting a just and sustainable world. If you would like to learn more about this fellowship, please look at our website at uufe.org.
Okay, Happy New Year. I'm Judy Darnell, and I have our fellowship live. Mike and I will be undecorating the mitten tree and delivering the ornaments tomorrow to the women's shelter. Thank you to all who have contributed. And if you have read Carl Hyacint's book, Squeeze Me, and if there's time to do so if you haven't, be sure to join the Society of Radical Readers for the discussion on Friday at 7 p.m. It'll be a fun discussion. The unclaimed board proposed revisions to the bylaws that have been mailed out. Be sure to examine them before our congregational meeting after potluck on the 15th. And Mike and I are planning to be out of town on the 22nd. So if you'd like to try your hand at reading Fellowship Live, or would like to read a selected story and do a craft with our youngest attendees, please let me know. Thank you.
We ring our gong 3 times. Once for those who came before us and made a place for us. Once for those who are here now. And once for those who will come after us and build on the dream. Our chalice lighting today is by Ellen Goodman. We spend January 1st walking through our lives, room by room, drawing up a list of work to be done and cracks to be patched. Maybe this year, to balance the list, we ought to walk through the rooms of our lives, not looking for flaws, but for potential. And now join with me in our unison covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. and I forgot to light our chalice.
The legend of the ominous bus. Looking back at 2022, reflecting on 2022, a lot happened in 2022. COVID was still here. There was war in Ukraine and other places around the world. We had a World Cup in Qatar. I think I said that right. The Queen of England died, and they had a prime minister who only lasted 44 days, the shortest term for any British prime minister. The Supreme Court issued a number of remarkable rulings, including overturning Roe v. Wade. Trump's tax returns were released. China tried to continue unpopular COVID restrictions and experienced surprise protests. And of course, when they relaxed their restrictions, they started spreading. People protested Taliban rule in Iran after the death of Masha Amini in police custody. Inflation came back and hurt all of us, but the impact on lower income people was the harshest. Climate change intensified. Some of the worst weather-related disasters ever happened in 2022. Today, I will reflect on 2022 and some of the national worldwide events that happened. Some events that occurred in my life, and some events in the life of our fellowship. What is this legend of the ominous bus? What does that mean? Sometimes a phrase or a group of words will tickle some part of my brain. I've been thinking for a while about the word omnibus, and kind of just that was floating around my mind, and it made me think of an ominous bus, kind of, playing on words. And so for me, the ominous bus came to symbolize all the fears, worries, and anxieties of the times in which we live. Then, after I came up with this idea, COVID shut the world down, and I wrote this song. And this is on the album that's titled Ominous Bus. Get on board the ominous bus. Jump on board the ominous bus. Get on board the ominous bus. It's gonna be a rocky road. It's gonna be a rocky road. Deer tracks in the snow. Put it in the maybe box. Meanwhile, down the road, right in the middle of dialysis, the school call. Get on board the ominous bus. Jump on board the ominous bus. Get on board the ominous bus. It's gonna be a rocky road. It's gonna be a rocky road. There's dust on everything. No No matter how bright it is, toys always lose their glow. Right in the middle of the therapy, the prison call. Dirty as a snake crawling in the mud, clean as an angel flying up above. We're all things everywhere, rolled up into one. It's a story that I tell myself. The road, the rain is enough, is enough. Get on board the ominous bus. Jump on board the ominous bus. Get on board the ominous bus. It's gonna be a rocky road. It's gonna be a rocky road. Spring will be coming soon. At least it was advertised. Summer rains will wash us clean. Right in the middle of the river ride, the preacher called. Get on board the ominous bus. Jump on board the ominous bus. Get on board the ominous bus. It's gonna be a rocky road. It's gonna be a rocky road. It's gonna be a rocky road. So ominous buses. Sometimes in our lives, we're anxious about what might happen next. We fear the unknown. We get that phone call from the school, the prison, the preacher. You know, we used to get surprised by phone calls because when the phone would ring, we wouldn't know who was calling. Now we know, and certain names or phone numbers pop up. It's like, oh no, what is this about? The ominous buses that just seem to come out of nowhere and disrupt our lives. My wife and I had 3 such calls this year. The first ominous bus call was from my nephew John, telling me that his brother Don, also my nephew, had succumbed to cancer. The second ominous bus was my sister-in-law telling me that my brother Don, the other Don's father, had suffered heart failure after a double bypass surgery. And then very recently, my wife received a call that her childhood friend Roxanne had passed away due to liver failure. My brother was 88 and he lived a full life. So his death made us sad. But he had always had health care and had survived an earlier heart attack. My nephew and my wife's friend may have died unnecessarily. Neither had proper health care during long stretches of their lives. My nephew got Medicare when he turned 65, and that's when they discovered the adrenal cortical cancer that killed him. Roxanne was only 56, and I don't think she had any health insurance, or if she did, it wasn't the greatest. When will we in the United States, one of the richest and most powerful countries in the world, start taking the health of our people seriously? Sometimes the unexpected call can bring positive results. I'm not sure whether to call this an ominous bus or just potentially ominous. Last January, a school principal called me to tell me that a 6th grade class at her school had asked for me to take over as their teacher. I enjoyed my 3-month time working with younger co-learners as a result. So sometimes the ominous bus phone calls turn out to be good things. The next song is about how we can dream, laugh, love, dance, cry, and smile about our lives, but how we must never lose our dreams, even as ominous buses chase us and bear down on us. Do you dream? Do you dream? Do you dream of things that you can't see? Do you dream? Do you dream? Do you dream? Do you laugh? Do you laugh when you hear a joke about a giant giraffe? Do you laugh? Do you laugh? Do do you laugh? Calling all dreamers dream, calling all dreamers dream, calling all dreamers dream a dream. Do you love, do you love, fit someone like a hand in glove? Do you love, do you love, do you love? Do you dance, do you dance, fill your heart with wild romance? Do you dance, do you dance, do you dance? Calling all dreamers dream, calling all dreamers dream, calling all dreamers dream a dream. Do you cry, do you cry, when you finally have to say goodbye? Do you cry, do you cry, do you cry? Do you smile, do you smile, big and bright and young and wild? Do you smile, do you smile, do you smile? Calling all dreamers dream, calling all dreamers dream, calling all dreamers dream a dream. Do you dream, do you dream, do you dream of things that you can't see? Do you dream, do you dream, do you dream? So, World Ominous Bust number 1, War in Ukraine. This is what the Council on Foreign Relations had to say about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Quote, sometimes intelligence agencies are like the mythical Cassandra, correctly predicting events only to be disbelieved. Late in 2021, US and British officials began warning that Russia would invade Ukraine. Many European leaders, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, dismissed the idea of war. But on February 24th, 2022, Russia launched a special military operation that it said was needed to force demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine. To the surprise of the Kremlin and most military experts, Ukraine withstood the initial onslaught and then began to turn back Russian forces. Moscow abandoned its bid to take Kyiv and shifted to seizing the Donbass region in eastern Ukraine. In September, Ukrainians launched a counteroffensive that liberated the northeastern city of Kharkiv. 6 weeks later, Russian forces abandoned the southeastern city of Kherson, spurring speculation that Ukraine might seek to reclaim Crimea, which Russia seized in 2014. Russia's invasion exposed significant geopolitical divisions. Western nations rallied behind Kyiv. China and most countries in the global south did not, despite their insistence that national borders are sacrosanct. As 2022 ended, a ceasefire looked unlikely. Russia targeted Ukraine's critical infrastructure, hoping that winter would do what the Russian military couldn't: break Ukraine's will. Meanwhile, the rest of the world struggled to adapt to price shocks, supply disruptions, and food shortages triggered by Russia's brazen aggression, end quote. My opinion, the invasion, this magnificent blunder, is because Vladimir Putin's miscalculations due to his increasing isolation and lack of advisors willing to tell him the truth. Putin's cold-blooded ruthlessness made me think of two songs, one that I helped write and one that I didn't help write. First song was originally a poem I'd written called Annihilator. My partner Brian and I turned it into a song, and it amused me to transfer the word annihilator into the name of a person, Annihilator. There are two versions. The long version is Annihilator, and the short version, which I will play next, is named Annihilator Jr. dedicated to Mr. Putin. I annihilated millions with no scratch upon my face. Can't remember the words to my own song. Let me try this again. I annihilated millions with no scratch upon my face. Cancelled all those living things like stray marks I erased. My heart is solid iron, my brain a raging fire. My soul is a computer chip, my arms are copper wires. What can I say? What can you say? How can you set me free from me? The ground you walk is dangerous, this place belongs to me. You really don't belong here, you're a casualty. You can't tell me anything, my ears are locked up tight. My eyes are filled with darkness that lives beneath the night. What can I say? What can you say? How can you set me free from me? They came in cattle cars, they didn't know it would take so long. They wondered why the snow was falling, they wondered why they felt so scared. I locked them up in cages, fed them scraps and dirt, tore mothers from their babies, threw them to the wolves. Indifference is my middle name, the opposite of love. Love like an arrow, peace like an iron glove. I am the prince of woe, my path has been concealed. I annihilated millions, today I stand revealed. What can I say? What can you say? How can you set me free from me? What can I say? What can you say? How can you set me free from me? The song that I didn't help write that reminds me of Mr. Putin is Zombie by the Cranberries, which was released in 1994. Here's a little background on that song from Wikipedia. The song was written in response to the death of Jonathan Ball III and Tim Perry 12, who had been killed in the IRA bombing in Warrington, northwest England, when two devices hidden in litter bins were detonated. Ball died at the scene of the bombing as a result of his shrapnel-inflicted injuries, and 5 days later, Perry lost his life as a result of head injuries. 56 others were injured, some seriously. Perry died in his father's arms in Liverpool's Walton Hospital. The two boys had gone shopping to buy Mother's Day cards on one of the town's busiest shopping streets. Dolores O'Riordan, in 2017, she's the lead singer of the Cranberries, and she wrote the song. Remember writing Zombie. There were a lot of bombs going off in London, and I remember this one time a child was killed when a bomb was put in a rubbish bin. That's why there's that line in the song, a child is slowly taken. We were on a tour bus, and I was near the location where it happened, so it really struck me hard. I was quite young, but I remember being devastated about the innocent children being pulled into that kind of thing. So I suppose that's why I was saying it's not me, even though I'm Irish. It wasn't me, I didn't do it. Because being Irish, it was quite hard, especially in the UK, when there was so much tension. So here we are in 2022, still making little children suffer, with some people making little children suffer for political ends. And that's the tragedy of war, of course. You can't have a war without innocent people being killed. Another head hangs slowly, child is slowly taken, and the violence caused such silence. Who are we mistaken? But you see, it's not me, it's not my family. In your head, they are fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. In your head, they are crying. In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. Hey, hey, what's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. Hey, hey, Another mother's broken heart is taken over, and the violence caused such silence. We must be mistaken. It's the same old theme since 1916. In your head, they are fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. In your head, they are dying. In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. Hey, hey, what's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. Hey, hey, with your tanks and your bombs and your bombs and your guns. In your head, they're still fighting. Your tanks and your bombs and your bombs and your guns. In your head, they are dying. In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. Hey, hey, what's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. Hey, hey, A worldwide ominous bus. Number 2, climate change. Climate change is happening. It is caused by people. We can slow it down, but we have to be willing to make some changes. Again, a quote from the Council on Foreign Relations. Quote, 40 years ago, when scientists first warned of a possible climate catastrophe, it was a problem for the future. 2022 showed that the perilous future has arrived. Once rare weather events became commonplace. Europe experienced record heat waves that burned forests and dried up rivers. Pakistan endured a brutal heat wave that was followed by epic monsoons that left as much as 1/3 of the country underwater. The US Southwest endured a record drought that shrank reservoirs like Lake Mead and diminished crop yields. On the other side of the country, Hurricane Ian wreaked havoc on Florida. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change of the United Nations warned in April that the effects of climate change will soon become irreversible. There were a few bright spots in the climate change debate. In August, the US Congress passed and President Joe Biden signed into law the Inflation Reduction Act, which has been heralded as the most important step taken thus far to reduce the emission of the heat-trapping gases that cause climate change. Likewise, scientists generated technological advances that might someday wean humanity off fossil fuels. But overall, government action continued to lag. The COP27 meeting at Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, ended with a loss and damage agreement that, in theory, will lead wealthy countries to compensate poor countries harmed by climate change. But no breakthroughs were made in cutting emissions. Instead, the share of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere continued to rise in 2022, end quote. The Rust Show has 2 songs that address climate change. The first one was on our album Unravels. It's called How Long? How long will we sleep? How long will we creep? How long will we go on quietly? Tanks of banks of bullies and the themes, the cheats, elites, and all hypocrisies. How long to the blind will see? How long? How long? Storm clouds fill the sky, thunder crash and lightning strike, wild winds howl in the night, fire casts a terrible light, makes us fear for our lives. How long? How long? Sun is scorching the ground, people search for water, can't be found, ocean rising up to kill, never answers to our will. How long will we stand stock still? How long? How long? How long will we sleep? How long will we creep? How long will we go on quietly? The banks, the tanks, the bullies, and the thieves, the cheats, elites, and all hypocrisies. How long till the blind will see? How long? How long? How long? How long? My songwriting partner Brian had an amazing instrumental piece, and I was listening to it and thinking about how, in many ways, the world would be better off without people on it. This song is a result of that pondering. I'm going to play the video so you can hear the wonderful instrumental work of my songwriting partner Brian. My wife just reminded me that we actually had 4 ominous bus phone calls this year. We also lost our nephew Christopher earlier in the year. So you just never know when that phone rings. But then I was thinking, ominous buses, it's been pretty negative so far. So did anything good happen in 2022? World ominous bus number 3, or maybe it's the Sunshine Bus, I don't know. Trump falls. 2022 saw a lessening of the influence of Donald Trump. The House January 6th committee exposed his role in the attack on the Capitol and recommended to the Justice Department that he be prosecuted. Most of the candidates that he supported in the 2022 midterm elections lost. The Republican Party did not dominate the midterms the way that history said they should have. Don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against Republicans as people. I don't agree with some of their ideas, but the main thing is I don't care much for how partisan politics has turned our national and world decisions into a football game with winners and losers. But that's on all of us. Our political system is set up to encourage greed, corruption, and influence peddling. Democrats, Republicans, independents, all other brands of politicians can be rascals and scoundrels. High and Tall is a song that says, steep is the fall from high places. One problem with elevating yourself above others is it's farther to the ground when you fall. Still, waiting to hear the sound of Trump's meeting with that ground. High and tall, steep is the fall from high places. A lack of social graces will get you nowhere, Mr. Trump. Will get you nowhere. Will get you nowhere. See, I'm not a rich man's prodigy, nor a pauper's son. No middle-class pseudo-child, no bullet gun, 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 no bullet gun. Children fly from their fathers to a mother with no name. I am a simple man from a simple place. See the lines upon my face. I don't have complicated interactions. I'm not a runner in your race. No bullet gun, no bullet gun, no bullet gun. No bullet gun, no bullet gun, no bullet gun. Children fly from their fathers to a mother with no name. High and tall, steep is the fall from high places. So what else was good about 2022? More attention is being paid to climate change. We're not where we need to be, but strides are being made, often by cities, states, and businesses to combat the effects of climate change. There was a peace treaty between the Ethiopian government and the Tigrayan minority in the north. The No Surprises Act went into effect that protects people from unexpected medical bills. Maya Angelou became the first Black woman to be featured on a U.S. quarter. The COVAX global vaccination program reached the milestone of delivering its 1 billionth COVID-19 vaccine. Once endangered humpback whales are growing in population globally thanks to conservation efforts. Conservation, not conversation. 523 acres of California redwood forest were returned to a group of Native American tribes. Up from just 2000 and 2020, researchers counted nearly 250,000 monarch butterflies in California in 2021. The U.S. has saved millions of adoptable pets from being euthanized by moving them from states with too many to states that need more. A national survey found that a large majority of voters and parents trust librarians and oppose book bans. Ketanji Brown Jackson made history as the first Black woman ever to sit on the U.S. Supreme Court. The world's largest wildlife overpass is being built over California Highway. After incarceration rates hit a 35-year low, Massachusetts is closing one of its 2 maximum security prisons. In a historic agreement, the U.S. men and women's soccer teams will now be paid equally. Students across the U.S. are participating in school walkouts to protest gun violence and demand action. The number of independent bookstores is at its highest in years, with more diverse owners than ever. The list of good news goes on, but sometimes you have to look for it. As the big, scary, bloody, dramatic, negative stories get the headlines. Just look wherever you get your news for lists of good things that happened in good old 2022. Here at our fellowship, we started meeting again in person. We have a brand new parking lot, brand new roof. We're growing in attendance and membership. The future is truly bright. Whenever we are down and sad and depressed and filled with anxious worries because there are ominous buses coming at us from every angle, we can look around and see people helping and caring. And here's what Fred Rogers has to say about helpers.
You know, my mother used to say a long time ago, whenever there would be any really catastrophe that was in the movies or on the air, she would say, always look for the helpers. There will always be helpers, you know, even just on the sidelines. That's why I think that if news programs could make a conscious effort of showing rescue teams, of showing medical people, anybody who is coming into a place where there's a tragedy, to be sure that they include that. Because if you look for the helpers, you'll know that there's hope.
So we just add one thing to what Mr. Rogers said. Don't just look for helpers, be a helper. 2022, like all years, had its ups and downs, its good times and its bad. Remember, there's always hope. The next song actually came to me as I drove home in a rainstorm. Before the rain, the windshield had been covered with bug carcasses, and the rain washed them away. I also remember how I used to tell my staff at school that we were like water dripping on stone. We were making changes, but it was going to take a lot of time to see the results. Good hard rain will wash bugs off the windshield, bugs off the windshield, bugs off the windshield. Good hard rain will wear down a mountain, wear down a mountain, wear down a mountain. So don't worry too much about anything. Good hard rain will make it fine. Don't worry too much about anything. Good hard rain will make it fine. Good hard rain will soften up a tyrant, soften up a tyrant, soften up a tyrant. Good hard rain will wake up the sleepers, wake up the sleepers, wake up the sleepers. So don't worry too much about anything. Good hard rain will make it fine. Don't worry too much about anything. Good hard rain will make it fine. Bump 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 down, bump 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 down, down, bump 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 down, 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 down. Biddy dip 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 do da, dip 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 do da do da do da day. Good hard rain will make blooms in the desert, blooms in the desert, blooms in the desert. Good hard rain will chase away the wildfire, chase away the wildfire, chase away the wildfire. So don't worry too much about anything. Good hard rain will make it fine. Don't worry too much about anything. Good hard rain will make it fine. Bump 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 down, down, bump 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 down, down, bump 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 down, 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 down. Biddy dip 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 do da, dip 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 do da do da do da day. La 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 la. Bump 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 down down, bump 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 down 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 down. So now I'm ready to listen to whatever you all have to say. Change so I can see everybody. Questions, comments? The one thing I wish I would have included more about was gun violence, because I think that's another ominous bus. But I didn't want it to go too terribly long.
Carl, I'm glad you mentioned we're back together in person. Ironically, mentioning it during a Zoom service, but still, it's good to worship back together.
Judy, I love Carl Hyacinth, and he's a guy who can take the situations, the good and the bad, and make a humorous look at them and make a point doing it. So I wish I could be at the book review or book discussion, but I'm not going to be there. But I like his books.
He's a favorite of Mike's.
Yeah, Mike introduced me to Carl Hyacinth, and I'm going to be there for the discussion. Carl, it was a wonderful service. How many songs have you written? Have you counted them up?
No, not really. Had so many different combinations of people I worked with. It's probably a 300, something like that, I would say.
Wow. Well, these were all very good, and I'm sorry I left zombie off the order of service. You had it there, and I left it off.
Well, of course, we know our orders of service are always absolutely correct every time.
Always.
Something in the chat. Let's see.
we have several of your CDs and we listen to them from time to time. We're still listening to CDs. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for the chats, the comments in the chat. Okay, well, we've got one more thing to share with you. And the postlude was mostly written by my songwriting partner, Brian. He's a manager in a sporting goods store. And one day, a homeless man came in to buy a tent. Brian was struck with how happy this guy was that he could afford to buy his home in a box. Thank you, and have a fantastic 2023.
Another day on the sidewalk shot. See the world through broken pain. I understand it's all give and take parade. Smile as shiny as a chrome chain. Holding my home in a box. No worries on this humble day trade. You gotta flow. You gotta flow. You gotta flow. It's an undertow. You gotta see. You gotta see. You gotta see who's in front of me. Another way to the sunshine rays. See how far I have to run. Never know how to find my way. You get married on a riverboat plane. See how far you have to go. Not much change to stay around today. You gotta flow, you gotta flow, you gotta flow. It's an undertow. You gotta see, you gotta see, you gotta see who's in front of me. Gotta flow, you gotta flow, you gotta flow, it's an undertow. You gotta see, you gotta see, you gotta see who's in front of me. Frown gets frozen on the worried face, wondering how to stay alive. Or should I win the race in space or face? Cold and frozen on the baking streets, want to know how to be set free. I'll be okay if I keep my feet away. You gotta flow, you gotta flow, you gotta flow, it's an undertow. You gotta see, you gotta see, you gotta see who's in front of me. Another day on the sidewalk shop.